Hi everyone, this is a short backbend sequence. So grab a couple of blocks if you have them. If you have two, it's great. If you only have one, that'll work. If you don't have blocks at all, you have to improvise with something you have where you are. So get what you have and come to your mat. I'm doing the same thing. I have two blocks here. I have set up my mat at the wall. So if you have a wall for one edge of your mat, that's good, but it's not required. And I set up already two mats like this just so that I don't have to move them around when I'm practicing. So if you have two mats, you might want to try to do that. Otherwise, you just, of course, adjust your mats. So right away, we're going to begin because this is just a short set for when you don't have very much time, or maybe you're like me, you've been working at your desk and you need a little break. This is backbends, which is really good because when we're sitting at our desk, or even if we're with good posture, we're really rounding the upper body. So come to downward dog, and if you're at the wall, your hands are just near the wall. Turn your palms out a little bit so that the middle fingers are pointing towards the upper corners of your mat. And keep your hands wide. They should be a little wider than the width of your shoulders. Then press your palms and fingers down, lengthen your arms, and adjust your knees if you need to so that they're just underneath your pelvis. And then engage the abdominal muscles lightly, just lightly. And then lift up into your best downward dog, which is straight arms and straight legs. You can adjust your footing a little wider than just hip distance so that you can work a little longer in the pose without getting tired. Press your palms down, lengthen your forearms, lengthen your upper arms, release your neck and head. And then engage the muscles of your legs a little more, contracting the quadricep muscles and rotating the thighs inward. With the long limbs, you can feel your torsos also getting extension because of the work of the limbs. But then also draw your shoulder blades into the body so that you're opening up into an upper back bend. Shoulder blades going in, chest moving towards the floor. And then stay in the pose, but just take one of your blocks and place them on the floor so that when you're here now working, you can rest your head on the block. Don't let the block be too low or too high, so you have to figure that out for yourself. Lift the shoulders up and away from your ears. So shoulders moving towards the back waist and then shoulder blades moving into the body. Rest your head, extend your limbs a little more, especially the legs. And then you can go ahead and release, take your knees to the floor. Adjust your hands just a little bit so they're under the shoulders and you can remove the block. And then do a few cat and cow. So first start in the cat position where you're lifting the shoulder blades, rounding your low back, dropping your chin, looking in towards the body. Then extend the front of the body and lift your chest. If you move your shoulder blades into the body, you'll be able to lift your chest more and lift your chin and look up. So try not to move too much in the low back, but it's more that shoulder blade, chest area, moving into a back bend. And then go ahead and come back into the cat position. And then just keep moving on your own, trying not to do too much of the movement from your low back, but getting that mid and upper back to open. Press your hands into the floor firmly. Lengthen your arms the whole time. You can close your eyes if you want, or of course you can keep them open. Don't strain your neck. Even if the back of your neck starts hurting, don't lift your chin so much. So you can even do the pose without really lifting the chin much. You're still working the upper back. I just say that because there tends to be, neck problems in general, and we don't want to exacerbate them with the yoga practice. So just a few more of these. And then come back to neutral. Tuck your toes. Just keep your hands where they are. Tuck your toes and lift back up into downward dog. And see if you can extend the limbs a little more. Go ahead and lift the heels high. So lift the heels and still open your chest towards the floor. Let your head and neck release. And then see if you can keep the pelvis high and lower the heels, stretching the bottoms of your feet, lengthening the calves. Breathe normally. And then go ahead and come out of this, bring your knees to the floor and sit back on your heels, like this. So actually this is a place where you can take your block and sit on the block, taking the, please do this if you have a block. Sitting on the block, taking the block between your 2 feet. So the feet could feel the block on either side there. You could take the block to that higher height. If you don't have a block, you can use something else, but do sit up on something so that you're not as deep in the pose as you maybe could be if you didn't have anything underneath you. Because this is just like an interim position. This is like the relaxing sitting position right now. And then from here, do feel that the chest is lifting because you're lifting from lower in the body. And because the last few poses that we did, feel any amount you can that your chest is open and broad, your collarbones are broad. And then keep that and come up onto your knees. So this is a place where you could press your feet into the block or whatever you have there. So you're kind of squeezing the block with your feet and keeping your pelvis up over your knees, lifting the torso upright. Then from here, go ahead and just make a little fist with your hands. You can have the thumb inside or on the outside. And take the knuckles to the sacrum, the area just below the waist in the center of your buttocks. And lengthen the thighs and begin to a little bit push the sacrum forward as you lift your ribcage and your chest, and you can look up. Again, if this bothers your neck, or this is another place where your neck's bothering you, you can look forward, but be careful with that, even looking forward. Lift the ribcage and the chest, open your chest, draw your knuckles into your sacrum, draw your elbows close together, breathe normally. And then on an inhalation, inhale, lift all the way up and out and come sitting back down on your block. Lengthen your low back down a little bit as you lift your chest. Your hands can just be palms down on your thighs. And then this time, take your one arm in front of you, this is my left, take your left and bring it to the midline of your body and draw the other arm under it. So the left arm's in front, right, it comes to the middle of the body, the right arm goes under, palms together. If you can't touch the palms together, you can have the back of the hands touching, something here, you could use a belt. From here, come up onto your knees, lengthen the thighs, press the shin bones, tops of your feet into the ground, you can squeeze the block, squeeze your arms together, descend your shoulders, lift your elbows up, and then begin to draw the sacrum forward, that's where your knuckles were before. Lift your rib cage, lift out of your low back, and maybe you could draw your forearms so that they align with the ceiling above you. Or maybe that's too much, you have to back off a little. But squeeze the block with your feet, press the shins down, lengthen your thighs, and draw the sacrum forward as you lift your rib cage and your chest and you look up. Breathe normally, and then you can go ahead, come out, release your arms. Sit back down on your block. Take your hands to the sides of your waist and draw your thumbs down your back, a little down the back waist. Draw your thumbs down so you're elongating your low back. Fingertips in front, they're feeling the front pelvic bones. Let the front pelvic bones lift a little up, or at least be facing forward in a neutral position. And then take your hands, palms down over your legs. Breathe normally, feel your body. Take your other arm or the right arm, if you're working the same way I am, in front of you. Draw it to the midline of the body, then take your left arm under. Squeeze your arms together, lift your elbows, but descend your shoulders. And then lengthen the front of the body and come up onto your shins, onto your knees. Squeeze the block with your feet. Okay. Press the tops of the feet down. Firm up the thigh muscles. Lengthen the thighs. Engage the buttock muscles and draw your sacrum forward as you begin to lift through the ribs and kind of curl the upper back as if you're curling the upper back over like a ballet bar that's behind your shoulder blades or something like that. Keep your collarbones broad, keep squeezing your arms, breathe normally. And then go ahead, come all the way up and all the way out, releasing your arms, sit back down, palms over your thighs, palms down. You can close your eyes for a moment. Be aware of your breathing, feel the whole body. Let yourself be at ease as much as you can.